let's now try using the Modify tab. The reason the Modify tab is here is because it lets you adjust certain things about the objects that you create. So now I've finished creating this cube. What I want to do, let's say I want to adjust the length. Well, if I go down from the Modify tab, you'll see where there's a list of different selections to choose from. You have length, width, height, length segments, width segments, and height segments. Well, if I want to adjust the length, I can either type in a number or I can just use this arrow key, push the left mouse button down, and pull up, and you see I'm adjusting the length of my cube. So I can make it flat, I can make it wide. I can do the same thing with the width, and I can do the same thing with the height. Now if you go down to the length segment tools, you'll notice when you pull up and down on those numbers, like I'm increasing it, let's say I increase the length, let's increase the length segments to 8. Well, you'll notice nothing happened. And the reason why is because you need to change your view of the cube. So if you go up here to where you have the plus button again, the perspective, standard, default shading, select this default shading. This is giving you just a default view of your cube. And you'll notice when you select different one of these items here, like the bounding box, flat color, hidden line, clay, you can get a different look at your objects. Like if I say clay, it gives it actually more of a clay look. Not so much on the cube, but on some of the other objects it'll really show up. Or you could go down here, select stylize, and I could say like graphite, and it'll change the entire look of the picture. A lot of people like to work with kind of an animated looking background. So you could change that, but if you go down to Wireframe Override, it will show you a wireframe view of the cube. But let's go back to default shading, and then let's go to where it says Edged Faces. Select Edged Faces. You'll notice now you can see these 8 lines right here. The reason for that is those are the 8 segments I just added when I said length segments. So let me bring that back down to 1. And you'll see now it's just the cube looks the way it did in the beginning. Just make sure you're into Edged Faces. And then when I add 2, it divides the cube into 2 segments. And if I add 3, it divides it into 3 segments, 4, and so on. And you could divide it in different directions. Now, we don't need that today, but later on that'll come in really handy when you want to adjust just one segment of a cube or a shape you're working on. So let's bring that all back down to 1.